So we have a very important update for you all. This broke after we finished taping the first part of the show. They found Joe.
He did. Well, he found himself, I guess. I don't know what's going on.
He appeared,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, he appeared in this, I guess, ad speech. I don't really know what it was, in a darkly lit, dim room in his house from Delaware. Basically talked a lot about criticizing the GOP response. He just wrapped up a live stream, which we stopped.
They managed
just watching
to
here.
Congratulations.
They managed
they figured out how to do a live
at the
stream.
Beginning, I didn't see this, but he was like, "Is this thing on? Is the mic hot? Are we ready to go?" While they were live, so still some kinks to work out there. Nice job, Joe Biden campaign. But broadly, Krystal, what they are going to see. Actually, let's take a listen to that ad that he put out.
President Trump and Mitch McConnell are trying to put a corporate bailout ahead of millions of families. You know, it's families. It's simply wrong. We should be focusing on families. The White House and the United States Senate Republicans have proposed a $500 billion slush fund for corporations with almost no conditions. And you don't have to tell Americans where it's going to go for months. You don't have to explain what you did with it. The Trump administration could allow money for stock buybacks, for executive pay. Republicans refuse to increase Social Security at the same time, to forgive student loans, to take the necessary steps to stop evictions, ensure food and nutrition for vulnerable families. Senator McConnell should immediately allow a bipartisan vote on aggressive measures to help small businesses, workers, communities, so they reflect what they need and so they can get moving, so we can help them now. This is a time to help families, communities, and small businesses. People trying to pay their mortgages or their rent, student loans, urgent bills. They need help. They shouldn't have to pay for a corporate handout before they get the help they need. They need the help now.
What you just saw there is exactly what we saw in the live stream. Has nothing to say, no concrete policy proposal. It's all like, we need to not give a bailout. Like, no talks about stock buybacks, specific provisions. None of this inspires confidence. And same with this live stream. You're just like, we need medical supplies to be given to the states. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but that's not like a revolutionary idea at a time of like immense panic and crisis, right?
Right. It's like, we need more tests. We're like, yes, we know. We're aware of that. We're well aware of that.
Everybody's on board.
I mean, look, obviously there's a lot to criticize President Trump for. He did that. He did a lot of criticizing of President Trump. Okay, fine. But you have to match that with, in order for it not to just look like political,
correct,
like you're just going after him, you have to match that with a plan of your own. And what he offered was mostly sort of vague generalities and platitudes. We need more healthcare workers. We need to protect our healthcare workers.
Protect our workers.
We need our more, masks and tests, et cetera. Okay, yes, we all know that. Very little in terms of specific ideas, especially on the economic piece, which, this should be his bailiwick. He's supposed to be middle-class Joe. Of course, we know the policy reality of how he actually governs, but that is his brand image. And so for him to not have any specific ideas, because look, who could be more powerful in this situation right now than Joe Biden? I mean, if he put pressure on Pelosi and Schumer and Democratic leadership to say, do $2,000 monthly checks like Bernie Sanders is suggesting, or $1,000, $1,500, whatever, if you put specific items out and pressured leadership to take it up, that would be incredibly powerful. I mean, that could actually move this debate and have an influence on what is unfolding. He didn't use the opportunity to do that.
No, he really didn't. He just didn't have he didn't step up to the plate with any new ideas, any try to shift the Overton window thinking. It's all about technocratic competence. It's all just like, oh, well, I will make sure that we spin up he will invoke the Defense Production Act and make sure we get masks out. I'm just like, okay, again, I think everybody is on board with that. And honestly, I think the President Trump will be doing that within a week. It's like all these little marginal fixes, and it's not like we need to bring a fundamental different view of how we look at this crisis, about how we come out of this as an economy, as a nation, and all of that. But you can't do that when you went to your Wall Street donors and you said, quote, nothing will fundamentally change.
Well, and not only that, I don't even think it's about technocratic competence, because honestly, I don't think that's Joe Biden's brand. I mean, his campaign was not really competently managed.
Right. Well, it's like energy, right?
Right. It's like looking the part.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal, is just to look and sound the part, which is an important part of a presidential campaign. It's not exactly what the American people actually need right now. They actually need someone who's offering ideas and real leadership so that we can put pressure on the people who are controlling the reins of power here in D.C. to actually deliver for American workers. It's not going to happen just by you saying we need to deliver for American workers. You need to put pressure on specific ideas. What should those industry bailouts look like? What strings should be attached? Which industry should be bailed out? How are we going to make sure that workers are made whole? How do we make sure that every American is able to get through this crisis whole? If I was watching that and I was a person who already lost my job, I was very worried about being able to put food on the table, I didn't hear anything there to say, okay, this is what he's calling for, this is what I'd be able to count on. And that's really we don't need someone just to look the part at this point. We need actual ideas, solutions, and people wielding the power that they have. And Joe Biden has a lot of power, don't mistake it, even though he doesn't have an official role or position right now. He has a lot of power in this town. He's not using it to advance any of those ideas. He's not
using it. He's just using it basically to score political points. Whatever. But the real thing is it just shows us what type of president that he's going to be. Lots of platitudes all the way up until the election. You come in, become president. If he becomes president, we're going to get Hillary Clinton 2.0, Obama 2.0, all over.
Right. And it plays into Trump's idea that Democrats are just using this as a political weapon against him.
That's true, actually.
When you just frame your whole speech around these are the Trump failures rather than, okay, let's talk about those failures, but let's also offer a path forward. We didn't really get that piece.
Didn't get any of it.
Surprise, surprise. All right, well, we found Joe, so there you go. We'll have more Rising for you after this.